down here. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. I'm excited about today's conversation. We're chatting with actor Pooch. He is a very busy individual. He's working on something now. I'm not sure how much you can talk about, but he has been a part of some really epic projects, The Game, Ray Donovan, and that's just to name a few. You have a very massive filmography. First of all, thank you for your time. I appreciate you making time to chat with us in the midst of your busy work schedule.
Well, Brett, I appreciate you for having me, my brother. Anytime that I can take some time out to, connect with the fans, update them on everything that's going on, and just connect with a great host like yourself, I got to take full advantage. So thank you for having me again.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Well, the first question I would ask you is, I was looking at your filmography and you've done a lot of things. You got to start really early on. When did you know that acting or being a storyteller was like something you were interested in? Like, how did that start for you specifically?
Oh man, I think it started for me when I was young, definitely in grade school. But it was so funny too because I just reconnected to a friend of mine on Facebook who I went to school with, and his name's John Morrison. And another childhood friend who I speak to all the time, his name's Chris Melbury. He's in the Army Special Forces. And I told him I reconnected with John, and I said to him, "Do you remember when we did that play? It was like a mock Dungeons and Dragons play when I was a
Nice.
kid, and I wrote it, and we all starred in it. And so what happened was the characters, John Marston had this gorilla mask, and he was like this villain gorilla demon king or something, and and I just told Chris about it, and Chris started laughing, and we did it in the fifth grade, and I always had a eye or a knack for film and stuff like that and role playing. Everything that I've ever done throughout my life has always had a character involved. Like when I was boxing, I imitated Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones, you know, Bruce Lee. And that was at a young age. So as I got older and I started to realize like not only was Muhammad Ali the greatest, but he was a showman and he was an
Mm.
entertainer. So I felt I had a lot of those qualities. And so it started when I was a young kid, grade school, that I wanted to be in movies. And plus I loved Empire Strikes Back.
So it was just really natural for you to choose. Well, it's almost like this world chose you because you were doing these things at such a young age. Is it fun to connect with friends that you grew up with? Do they look at you and go, this guy made it? He had a passion and he had the drive, because your world is just so different. It's not like what most
Sure.
people would be familiar with. Like I work in 8 to 5. I do this also.
Mhm.
And so having talked to yourself and others along the years, I get it's a different world. But when they talk to you, like you just mentioned, is it fun? Do they go, wow, this guy is doing it? He's literally living the dream in LA.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's a great question too, because um I always stay humble, and I think back to when I was growing up with friends, and then I share certain things um that I've experienced. And you have to be careful on how much you share because some people may live a boring life and it may come off as you're boasting or being, conceited and stuff like that. So I'm always mindful of how much I share. Um, but like a cat like Chris, who one of my best friends growing up, is still one of my best friends today. He's fighting for our country. He's still enlisted, and he's seen a lot of things. And the fact that we stay connected is a big deal. And so, to be able to share some of the wins or the accolades, or just when someone will ask you, so what's John Voight like? Who's the most famous person that you met? And I've met a lot of people, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's a world, to be honest with you, Brett. I think when people look at Hollywood, they look at Hollywood as just something on the television or on the movie screen that they
Yeah.
go to for entertainment. So therefore, it's kind of like that is an escape for me, or ways of entertainment, that anything outside of that, my real life is either I go to a 9 to 5, or I got to take care of my family or my kids, or my boss is an asshole. Like, to some people, that's their life, that's their real life. And Hollywood is like a place, like an imaginary place. So I share stuff with people, and it's fun to be able to share, and for people to be like, no way. I'm like, yeah, like, you know uh Tom McGuire is actually like 5'5", or you know
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio is like almost like 6'1", 6'2", almost. But like, um people tend to want to just know, like, you know like, what does John Voight eat? Does you know is Alfred Molina, funny as I've heard, and stuff like that, because I've worked with a lot of people, and I've you know been around a lot of people where you learn stuff about them. And the one thing I can honestly say about John Voight and Leah Schreiber is how funny they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get to see that. So I love sharing my stories when people ask, or when they ask me specifics. And I also educate people too on when they will mistaken a story of someone who I've worked with or may know, and then someone has a different story on an individual. I kind of correct that, because I'm like, you can get a bad rap just based off of someone catching an actor or an entertainer on the wrong time, or people don't always say what they've done to provoke an actor or an entertainer to maybe come off in a way that might not be appealing, or a little aggressive. So for the most part, I think as entertainers, we're people, and we know what we do is a public job, and it's not like we can hide out. We have to go out and do our own duties, or take care of our kids, take them to the doctors, or go to a parent teacher conference meeting, or I want to go to the gym, or I want to take a hike. And those people will be out. And I think when they go out, they know that they're going out, and they're going to be approached by people who are fans. But it's
Yeah.
how a person may approach an individual that comes in question sometimes. You know what I mean?
I
So
do. Yeah, I
it,
get it. And that's one of the things. Well, I mean, when we were talking, prior to getting together, it was like, yeah, I've got this, and then I've got that, and then I'm cooking dinner right now. Like, it's just, and speaking of John Voight, he's one of the nicest people in the world. We spoke to
yeah,
him about one of his films last year, Escaping the Game, I think it was. And it was just like a perfectly normal conversation,
sure.
and just one of the nicest people. And he is very funny. And I think, it's true in the sense, one of the things I've learned doing this is that, like, you are a human being. You're public facing. Obviously, we know you from different things. I was scrolling through your Instagram, and people ask you questions about shows or this or that, and you're very kind and gracious in your response, probably more than I probably could be if I was having to like manage all of that. Cause I mean, it's
Yeah,
very like, what people don't get is like, it is a job, you know what I'm saying? And
sure.
you either stand the test of time, or you don't, or you're on a show and the show ends, or you don't have any control over it. Or if you leave a show, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not necessarily your choice all the time
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Like, it could be writing, or it could be this, that, or the other, or if
Mm-hmm.
a show gets revived, why didn't they bring this person back? And it's the point I'm making is like, you just, this is your world, and it's
Mm-hmm.
different, and you can choose to handle it in a way or not. And then the people who approach you, maybe out on the street or at the grocery store or the parent teacher conference, you know, you have to treat people like human beings. Although
Mm-hmm.
I could see how also people might mistake you for a character, or think that you're like a character, and you're like really not. Like, is there one person when people meet you, do they lock you into like, oh, I thought you might be like, let's say your character on Ray, or
Yeah,
maybe other things that you've done, because you have worked with some very big names in the
yeah,
length of your career, the longevity.
yeah. It's funny because between the two shows, like on the game or Ray Donovan, um, so in the game, I, cheated on my co-star with this actress by the name of Juicidora, and I cheated on Melanie, who's played by Tia Mowry. And people are like, I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad. And I'd be like, I actually, you know, I don't date Tia. Me and Tia aren't together. So, that was a character that made a choice, a bad choice. Now, if I would have say something to him, I'm like, yo, man, don't you cheat on that girl. But it happened. And I think one of the reasons why people were able to relate, Brett, is because it happens in life. And people,
Yeah.
at young ages are going through just growing pains and relationship pangs and all that stuff. So I think that when Derwin cheated on Melanie, it sparked a big deal because I think that T and I did our jobs as actors where people fell in love with us, and then they didn't want to see us lose. They wanted to see us win by all
Yeah.
means. And when
Yeah.
Derwin cheated, it was a big deal. And as far as Daryl, everybody just was like, I can't even tell you on how many times like older women,
I can
like white
imagine.
women they'd be so older white women would feel so bad for me because they would be like, oh my God. Like I've hugged so many people in the airport because I want you to get away from Mickey. I can't stand how he treats you. And but you are so, and then meeting you in person, you're so adorable. I was like, thank you. And so they're like, when are you gonna like give Mickey a taste of his own medicine and all this stuff like that? And people would be invested in the show and the jobs that we would do as characters, that the people would invest time to where they wanted to kind of give us some insight or some advice in the airport or at a restaurant or in the store. Like, okay, so this is what you're gonna do to Mickey. Okay, there's this stuff that you can give him in his food to make him really sick so he will never come out of the bathroom and stuff like that. I've heard all types of stories, but it's what it is, Brett, is it's a testament and validation to actors that we're doing our job to where people want to see either a change or something. I want to see you overcome. I want to see you make a change, stand up for yourself and stuff like that. Or I want to see you get back rekindle that flame with your girlfriend or your wife and stuff like that. And so that's what we have to do as we're telling these stories. We have to give people a reason to continue to watch and to be able to relate to where it may mirror something within their lives, or on the outside looking in, trying to offer some advice or some type of helpful information to help the actor, or what they would do in a situation. If that was me, I would do this. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that's what entertainment adds. And also sometimes people, because I know growing up as a kid, I remember watching Superman for the first time and tying a towel around my neck and flying around wanting to be Superman. You know what I mean? And I think good acting, good entertainment, or cool character, that's what it does for some people. It offers that getaway.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? I wanted to be Blade. All of those things within a character and what they portray or something cool about them. A lot of things related to me to where I wanted to be, those characters. So I think the same thing goes for a person watching their program or their soap opera or something like that, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And speaking of Ray, I thought it was great how they did the movie. Fans champion for that. That just goes to show you the power that the fans have for a particular show, because it did end so abruptly. But
Yeah.
looking at your career, I mean, you've done the big pictures, you've done television shows. From when you started to now, how do you see the culture in Hollywood shifting, as far as opportunity, as far as characters you can play, as far as being able to create content on your own. Is it
Hmm.
changing for the better, or are we in a world now where you don't need a big studio, you don't need a big network to create something, you can just go out and create it on your own?
That's a great question, Brett. There's I'm gonna answer the first part of that question, and I think Hollywood having this platform open up to where they're having minorities, take on bigger roles, being the lead of, of a film that may be, geared towards maybe an all-white cast. Um, Me personally, I love the opportunities that I'm getting, but I can honestly tell you that when I first started in Hollywood, I started in New York, like I got a lot of great opportunities. And I think I might have went into it colorblind, where I just want to be the best actor that I can be. I'm not like putting a label on myself being the best black actor.
Sure.
I think a lot of things have happened within the last couple of years where I think minorities have proved that we've earned, I'm not saying we deserve, is like you have to go out, anything that you want, you have to go out and work for it. Nothing's given. So I feel the work that we've put in as minorities, whether black, Latino, Latina, Asian, Middle Eastern, or whatever the case may be, as far as us being artists, we've earned a place at the table to where we've shown that we can bring in numbers and that we can give Oscar award winning performances. And so for me, I'm not trying to approach any character as the best black actor in this role. I'm trying to be the best actor,
Yeah,
period.
sure.
And therefore, and I'm 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 set on being the best at whatever it is that I do. And if I just so happen to be a black actor, then so be it. But the platform has been opened up to where, we're getting a shake. We're getting an opportunity, or they're making certain adjustments. I mean, me personally, I think just create awesome characters. I don't like I grew up in comic books and science fiction. I don't feel you have to appease. Oh, we have to make this character black to appease whoever. It's kind of like, listen, no one's ever going to get it right. We do our best, we do what we can. But if it means, hey, if this actor was or this character was black, all right, you don't have to appease anyone by saying, I'm going to make the character white or make the character Asian. Get the best actor for the job, keeping close to the source material. And if it's to where you want to give black actors opportunities, instead of changing, like, let's say, hey, we're going to change Superman from white to black, just create another cool ass superhero, like they did with Hancock. You know what I'm saying? Or,
Yeah.
they're starting to, you know, greenlight a lot of graphic novel type of projects where, those characters are cool. So for me, I'm for equal opportunity. I don't want to say, oh, I want you to do this character because we need a black person. I was like, I want to be the right person for the job, and I
Yeah.
will entertain anything that's offered and try to give my input. I'm not going to just say yes to something, but I also know that if you're going to make this adjustment, don't just make the adjustment on, well, we got to hit a quota and hire a black person for this role that technically was written white, and not do the homework as far as what that culture means to this character. Because you can have a script where it was originally written white, replace the characters with like making the characters black, but then that's as far as you went. You don't address the cultural, root that goes throughout the whole script or the whole story. There's certain things that we're all different in certain respects. Yes, we all bleed red, and we all were born into the world and so forth. But I may have a different approach to certain foods that I like, or I'm not so quick to you know I don't know, go skiing or play hockey or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But for me, I just want an opportunity to show my work when someone says, "Hey man, you're the best actor for the job." But us having this platform, I say take full advantage and show what we can do. You know what I mean? And to the second part of your question, um, people like myself in the beginning who were looking for opportunities, and Hollywood seemed like they held the key, or they only opened the door to certain people. Um, there's so many talented people within Hollywood, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And I'm talking about the people who've even created the apps and certain technology on your phone where you can go shoot a movie.
Yeah.
Now it's almost, Brett, it's almost impossible for a person to say they want to be an actor or they want to be an entertainer, have an iPhone and not put out some content. It's almost you, in my opinion, I feel a person doesn't really want to be an entertainer or artist or actor if they have an iPhone and they're not recording themselves doing a monologue or doing something funny or singing or what have you. I mean, they got TikTok that allows a big platform, but I think if you really say you want to be an actor or what have you have your iPhone, you take up a writing class, write a script for yourself, write a piece for yourself, and then record it.
Yeah.
Go find the people who are good at lighting, or find people who are good at, you know, styling. There's platforms and technology to where anyone can be successful in the entertainment world and or some kind of artistry, in my opinion. So there's no excuses.
I love it. Well, congratulations on everything. One last question, and that's so brilliantly put. I mean, it's just on both parts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Very well said, my friend. What are
Thanks,
you
Brad.
working on now? 100%. What are you? I know you've been busy. I don't know how much you can share. I've seen you've got a couple things that you're working on at the moment. And I know
Well,
people are
Reef.
asking you, are you going to come back to the game? They're asking Tia the same question, and she's like,
um,
she's like every day people are posting on her Instagram or TikTok, hey, you know, but what are
I
you working
think
on?
and huge shout out to all the fans out there, Brad. I want to make sure that they realize and understand that I'm truly grateful and thankful for them to be in the position that I'm in. Um, the game was such a huge, it was a huge time in my life and in my career. It changed my life. And I'm super grateful for that opportunity to Mara Brock Akil and the CW and BT and my co-star, all my co-stars, Tia, Kobe, Brittany, Hosea, Miss Wendy. Um, you know, I was asked to come back to do the reboot, and I did an episode. There's a new showrunner, and he's got a vision for the show and where he wants it to go. Live, live. You get an opportunity like that, you take full advantage. And if it includes certain people from the old cast, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Just make sure it's the best show and best representation of what you know the game was before we got canceled or ended. Um, Listen, I'm all for like reprising my role of Derwin and giving the fans an eye wink and say, "Hey guys, thank you." But some people have a vision and where they want to go and they want to take it and they want to kind of reboot it or rework some things or revamp it, remix it, whatever. There's a lot of reboots that are taking place right now that they are going with the original cast. And so I'm happy for, Wendy Raquel Robinson, who plays Tasha Mack, and my boy Hosea Sanchez, who plays Malik. We all started together, and they get the call. They got the call to take this thing on to, the promised land, and I support them on that, and I'm happy for them. In the meanwhile, myself, Tia, we're working on other things. Like, I'm so fortunate that I have two films dropping at the end of February. One film is with Hallmark Mahogany called A Legacy in Nashville. Excuse me, A Legacy in Nashville, and then a another film, a Mar Vista studio film that's going to Tubi called Alarmed. And I'm working, and then I created a project myself that my team who co-created Ozark, Zero Gravity, that helped me, develop what's going to be my Rocky. Working with Dominique Wilkins,
Wow.
who plays my dad. Shaq, you know, showed showed and gave his support, who I'm friends with. That's my guy. Um, and a lot of the other ball players who I've gotten information and research to get source material to where you're telling stories that are like legit and authentic. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that soon, we're taking meetings right now for my project, and I'm hoping that within next couple of weeks we can have some good news to where we get a green light project where I'm the lead and I created it. And I think that, based off of the question you asked earlier, is the place where we are in Hollywood to where you can create your own content. That's after the pandemic, a lot of things changed, Brett.
Yeah.
So it was like, are you going to wait for Hollywood to call you back? Or are you going to go out there and do something about it to where you say, hey, Hollywood, I'm not going to wait on you to call me just in case if you don't, but I'm going to create something to where I say, hey, Hollywood, you guys need to see this. And I think that's kind of what you have to do, is you have to be a triple threat. So writing, producing, acting, eventually directing. I want to direct, but my future is bright based off of what it is that I'm looking forward to and working on, and the people who are actually giving me opportunities. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen within the next couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that we get some. I have some new information to, you know, put out there to, again, signify the next chapter of my life as far as being a real force in this industry. So I'm really thankful to people like you and the fans, man.
Absolutely. Well, Pooch, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations. Again, I've been a
Thank
fan
you.
for a very long time, but also I'm excited to know you a little bit better now and so people
Sure.
can get to know you as well. Congratulations. All the
Thanks,
success is well
buddy.
deserved, and I appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you. And all the fans out there who tune in, you can follow me on Instagram at I am Pooch Hall, or Twitter, I am underscore Pooch Hall, and official Pooch Hall on Facebook. And again, stay tuned. This February, I have those two films dropping, Alarmed and A Legacy in Nashville. Two amazing actresses that I'm acting with in that. So thank you.